Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving into The God of the Woods, a novel by Liz Moore. This book takes us on a compelling journey, blending mystery, suspense, and a touch of the supernatural, all set against the haunting backdrop of an enigmatic forest. A journey into the heart of the enigmatic forest. Liz Moore, known for her skillful storytelling and deep character exploration, doesn't disappoint with this novel. From the very first page, we are drawn into a world where the boundaries between reality and myth blur. The novel's atmosphere is thick with tension and a sense of foreboding that keeps readers on edge, making it impossible to put the book down. The story unfolds in a small, secluded town surrounded by dense woods that seem to hold secrets as old as time. This town is not just a setting, it's a character in itself. The townsfolk live under the shadow of these woods, with their daily lives shaped by the myths and legends that have been passed down through generations. These stories speak of an ancient being, the god of the woods, believed to dwell within the forest, watching and waiting. Our protagonist, Claire, is a complex character with a past intertwined with the town and its ominous surroundings. She returns after a long absence, not out of choice, but necessity. The disappearance of her younger brother, Tom, a boy with an insatiable curiosity for the woods, brings her back to this place she once called home. Tom's fascination with the forest was more than mere childhood wonder, it was an obsession that worried his family, especially Claire. Claire's return is not a warm homecoming. The town is steeped in suspicion and whispers. The people are tight-lipped about the woods, and even those who seem friendly are evasive when it comes to the topic of the forest and Tom's disappearance. This air of mystery creates an undercurrent of tension that permeates every interaction Claire has with the townsfolk. As Claire begins to search for answers, we are introduced to a spectrum of characters who add depth and layers to the narrative. There's Old Man Rutherford, who claims to have seen the God of the Woods with his own eyes. His tales are filled with vivid descriptions of a shadowy figure moving silently among the trees, watching over the town with an ancient, unblinking gaze. His stories are dismissed as the ramblings of an old man, but Claire can't shake the feeling that there's more truth to them than the town admits. Detective Martin, the local law enforcement officer, represents the voice of skepticism. He is a man of facts and evidence, and he sees the stories of the woods as a distraction from the real task of finding Tom. His interactions with Claire are marked by a blend of professional concern and personal disbelief in the supernatural elements surrounding the case. Then there's a group of teenagers, thrill-seekers who view the woods as a place of dares and tests of courage. Their ventures into the forest at night, armed with nothing but flashlights and bravado, add a sense of peril and youthful recklessness to the narrative. Their stories, filled with near misses and eerie encounters, add to the growing legend of the forest, feeding into the town's collective fear. Throughout this part of the novel, the forest itself is painted as a living entity. Liz Moore's descriptions are lush and evocative, capturing the reader's imagination with every detail. The trees seem to breathe, their branches reaching out like fingers, and the underbrush whispers secrets in the wind. The sounds of the forest, the rustling leaves, the distant call of unseen creatures, create a symphony of suspense that envelopes Claire and the readers alike. Claire's journey into the woods is both literal and metaphorical. As she delves deeper into the forest, she is also uncovering layers of her own past and the town's history. The woods become a mirror to her soul, reflecting her fears, her doubts, and her resolve. Her determination to find Tom and uncover the truth about the God of the Woods propels the narrative forward, keeping the readers hooked as the mystery unravels. This immersive opening sets the stage for a gripping exploration of fear, belief, and the unknown. In the next part, we'll explore how Claire's character evolves as she confronts the mysteries of the forest and the secrets the town has kept hidden for so long. Got it? I'll proceed with the next part and avoid mentioning the upcoming scenes in the previous part. Here's the continuation. Part 2, Claire's investigation and the town's secrets. As Claire begins her investigation into Tom's disappearance, she quickly realizes that the town holds more secrets than she initially thought. The silence of the townspeople is not just out of fear of the unknown, it's also a shield against the dark history intertwined with the woods. Claire revisits places from her childhood, places that now seem drenched in a sinister aura. The local library becomes her sanctuary, a place where she digs into the town's archives, unearthing old newspaper clippings, diaries, and journals that hint at a long history of disappearances and strange occurrences linked to the forest. The deeper she dives into the records, the more she sees a pattern, one that spans decades, if not centuries. The town's older residents, like Old Man Rutherford, speak in hushed tones about the cycles, periods when the woods seem to call to the young and the curious, drawing them in, never to be seen again. These cycles, according to Rutherford, are the work of the god of the woods, demanding a sacrifice to maintain the balance between the town and the forest. Claire is skeptical, but also haunted by the recurring names and dates that align with these cycles. She tries to talk to the other families who have lost loved ones, but they are reluctant to open up, clearly still traumatized by their losses, and perhaps fearful of inviting the wrath of the woods. Her quest takes her to the edge of the forest, where she confronts her memories of playing with Tom as children, daring each other to venture deeper and deeper into the woods. The forest, even then, had an almost magnetic pull, filled with shadows that danced and whispered in the twilight. The tension builds as Claire's dreams are invaded by vivid, almost prophetic visions of the woods. She dreams of Tom, standing among the trees, his face obscured by the shadows, but his presence unmistakable. These dreams feel more like memories, or perhaps warnings, blurring the line between her waking life and the nocturnal world of the forest. The townspeople grow increasingly wary of Claire's probing. The more questions she asks, the more doors are shut in her face. Even her old friends seem distant, avoiding her gaze, and changing the subject when she brings up the woods. It's as if there's an unspoken pact of silence that everyone is bound to, except her. The town's secretive nature is not just born out of fear, but also a sense of complicity. There are whispers of old covenants, of deals struck with the god of the woods to keep the town safe from its wrath. These are dismissed as old wives' tales, but Claire can't shake the feeling that there's a kernel of truth in them. Claire's persistence, however, begins to wear down some of the townspeople. A few of them, particularly the younger generation, share their own experiences, their own brush with the eerie presence in the woods. They speak of footsteps that don't belong, of the feeling of being watched, and of the inexplicable pull that draws them towards the heart of the forest. As Claire pieces together these fragments of stories and experiences, she becomes more convinced that finding Tom means facing whatever it is that resides in the woods. Her fear of the unknown is matched only by her love for her brother, driving her to confront the very thing the town has spent generations trying to avoid. The forest looms larger than ever, a dark, brooding presence that seems to be waiting for her, daring her to step inside and unravel its mysteries. Claire knows that the answers she seeks are somewhere within those shadowy depths, waiting to be uncovered. Part 3: The Descent into the Woods. Driven by her resolve to find Tom, Claire prepares herself for the inevitable, venturing into the woods. This journey is more than just a physical trek, it's an emotional and psychological confrontation with her deepest fears. The forest, once a playground of childhood curiosity, now stands as a formidable adversary, cloaked in shadows and secrets. Before entering the woods, Claire gathers what she can: a flashlight, a map of the old trails, and a few supplies. She revisits the notes and stories she has collected, hoping to glean any clues that might guide her. Despite the fear gnawing at her, Claire's determination fuels her. Every step she takes toward the forest edge feels heavier, burdened with the weight of what might lie ahead. As she crosses the threshold into the woods, the atmosphere shifts. The familiar sounds of the town fade, replaced by an eerie silence, punctuated only by the occasional rustling of leaves or the distant cry of an unseen creature. The dense canopy above blocks out most of the sunlight, casting the forest floor in perpetual twilight. Each tree seems to lean in, as if observing her progress. Claire's mind races as she navigates the winding paths. Her heart pounds with each crack of a twig underfoot, every unexpected rustle in the underbrush. She can't shake the feeling that she's being watched, that the forest is aware of her presence. The stories she's heard, the warnings from the townspeople, echo in her mind, but she pushes them aside, focusing on her goal. The deeper Claire ventures, the more disoriented she becomes. The map she brought seems useless as the trails twist and turn in ways she didn't anticipate. It's as if the forest itself is shifting, changing its layout to confuse her. Time loses meaning, hours pass without her realizing, and soon, the dim light of the afternoon begins to fade into the darkness of the night. As night falls, the woods become even more foreboding. The darkness is almost absolute, broken only by the weak beam of her flashlight. Shadows dance at the edges of her vision, and the silence grows oppressive. Claire's fear intensifies, but so does her resolve. She calls out for Tom, her voice swallowed by the vastness of the forest. In this part of the journey, Claire begins to experience strange occurrences. The path behind her seems to disappear, leaving her with no option but to move forward. She finds markings on trees, symbols, and signs she doesn't recognize but feels have been left for her to find. These markings lead her deeper into the heart of the forest, each step taking her closer to the unknown. Exhausted and on the verge of despair, Claire stumbles upon a clearing, a brief respite from the claustrophobic embrace of the trees. In the center stands an ancient, gnarled tree, its massive trunk twisted and scarred with age. Something about this tree feels significant, as though it's a sentinel guarding a deeper secret. Claire approaches it cautiously, sensing that she's on the brink of uncovering something monumental. As she rests by the tree, trying to catch her breath, she hears a sound that sends chills down her spine, a whisper, faint but distinct, calling her name. It's not the wind or her imagination, it's a voice, and it seems to come from within the tree itself. Gathering her courage, Claire leans in, pressing her ear against the rough bark, straining to hear the message it carries. The whispering grows louder, more insistent, weaving a tale of the forest's history, its power, and the entity that resides within. Claire is simultaneously terrified and entranced, unable to pull away. She realizes that the tree is a gateway of sorts, a conduit to the forest's essence, and perhaps a connection to Tom. This discovery marks a turning point in Claire's journey. She understands that to find her brother, she must embrace the forest's mysteries and confront the presence that has eluded the town for generations. The forest is no longer just a place of fear, it's a puzzle she is determined to solve, a labyrinth whose secrets she will uncover, no matter the cost. Part 4: The Heart of the Forest. With renewed determination, Claire decides to follow the whispers, believing they hold the key to finding Tom. The ancient tree seems to guide her, its presence fading as she ventures deeper into the woods. The forest around her grows denser, the air heavier, as though the woods themselves are alive, pulsating with an unseen energy. Each step feels like a journey further away from the world she knows, and closer to an unknown realm governed by its own rules. Claire's senses heighten, the rustling leaves, the creaking branches, and the occasional distant howl all seem to merge into a symphony orchestrated by the forest. The path is no longer visible, yet Claire feels an invisible force drawing her forward, an almost magnetic pull that she cannot resist. As she walks, Claire begins to notice peculiar details, flowers that glow faintly in the dark, insects that shimmer like tiny stars, and trees that seem to shift subtly when she looks away. The forest, once terrifying, now seems almost enchanted, as if revealing a hidden layer of its identity to her. It's a strange balance of beauty and danger, captivating yet ominous. Suddenly, Claire stumbles upon another clearing, but this one is unlike any she's encountered before. At its center is a stone altar, worn and cracked with age, surrounded by a circle of towering trees that seem to form a natural cathedral. The ground is covered in moss, and in the center of the altar lies a carved wooden figure, a representation of the god of the woods. Its features are both human and otherworldly, a blend of nature and spirit. The sight of the altar confirms the stories Claire has heard. This is a place of ancient rituals, a sacred ground where the townspeople once came to offer sacrifices in a desperate attempt to appease the god they feared. Claire's mind races with questions about the nature of these rituals and their connection to the disappearances, including Tom's. While examining the altar, Claire hears footsteps behind her. She turns quickly, expecting the worst, but finds herself face to face with a figure shrouded in a cloak made of leaves and vines. The figure's face is obscured, but their voice is clear and calm, yet filled with an ancient wisdom. They introduce themselves as the guardian of the forest, a protector of its secrets and a bridge between the human world and the realm of the woods. The guardian reveals that the forest has always been a place of power, a source of life and death, governed by forces beyond human understanding. The god of the woods, they explain, is not a vengeful deity but a manifestation of the forest's essence, a keeper of balance. The sacrifices were never demanded by the god but were offerings made by humans who misunderstood the forest's nature. Claire listens intently, absorbing the guardian's words and the realization that the fear that has gripped the town for generations was rooted in misinterpretation and superstition. However, she also learns that the forest's power can be unpredictable and that those who wander too far, like Tom, may become entwined with its essence, lost between the worlds of the living and the forest spirit. The guardian offers Claire a choice: to leave the forest and return to the town, carrying the truth to dispel the myths, or to continue her journey into the heart of the woods, where she may find Tom but at the risk of becoming part of the forest herself. The choice is fraught with danger and uncertainty, yet Claire's love for her brother leaves her with little hesitation. Choosing to press on, Claire asks the guardian for guidance on how to navigate the forest's deeper, more treacherous paths. The guardian provides her with a talisman, a small stone imbued with the forest's energy, which will help protect her from the forest's more malevolent forces. With this, Claire feels a surge of hope, believing that she might still find Tom and bring him back. As Claire ventures beyond the altar, the forest's atmosphere shifts once again. The whispers become voices, speaking in a language she doesn't understand but feels drawn to. The trees seem to lean closer, their branches forming arches above her, as though guiding her toward the final confrontation with the mysteries that have held the town captive for so long. Part 5: The Encounter with the Unknown. Claire's journey into the heart of the forest takes on an almost dreamlike quality. Time and space seem to stretch and contract, disorienting her as she moves forward. The forest's whispers grow louder, now forming a cacophony of voices that seem to be urging her on, guiding her deeper into the unknown. The talisman given by the guardian provides a faint glow, pulsing softly in rhythm with Claire's heartbeat. It becomes her anchor, a small beacon of hope in the ever-darkening woods. The path becomes more treacherous, with tangled roots and uneven ground threatening to trip her at every step. Despite this, Claire presses on, driven by the faint hope of finding Tom. As she continues, Claire notices subtle changes in the forest. The air grows colder, and the once vibrant vegetation takes on a ghostly pallor. The trees seem to whisper secrets, their branches twisting into unnatural shapes. The atmosphere is thick with anticipation, as if the forest itself is holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. Claire suddenly feels a presence, an undeniable sensation that she is not alone. She turns quickly, her eyes scanning the shadows, but nothing is visible. The feeling persists, however, growing stronger with each passing moment. It's as if the forest is alive, watching her, testing her resolve. Then, out of the corner of her eye, Claire catches a glimpse of movement. She follows it, her heart pounding as she moves deeper into the forest. The shadows seem to close in around her, but she pushes forward, driven by the belief that she is close to finding Tom. The movement leads Claire to a small clearing, illuminated by an eerie, otherworldly light. In the center stands a figure, shrouded in shadow yet radiating an undeniable presence. Claire can feel the power emanating from the figure, an ancient energy that sends shivers down her spine. The figure steps forward, and Claire can finally see its face. It is both familiar and alien, a reflection of the forest's essence. The figure speaks, its voice resonating with the depth of the woods. It introduces itself as the embodiment of the forest spirit, the god of the woods. It is neither malevolent nor benevolent but exists to maintain the balance of the natural world. The god of the woods reveals that Tom is alive, but he has become entwined with the forest's essence, lost between the human world and the spirit realm. To rescue him, Claire must undergo a ritual that will bind her temporarily to the forest's power, allowing her to traverse the spirit realm and reach Tom. The ritual is not without risk. The god of the woods warns Claire that once bound to the forest, there is a chance she may not return, becoming a permanent part of the forest spirit. Despite the danger, Claire's determination to save her brother outweighs her fear. She agrees to the ritual, knowing that this may be her only chance to bring Tom back. The god of the woods instructs Claire to stand in the center of the clearing, where the light is strongest. It begins to chant in an ancient language, the words resonating through the forest. The ground beneath Claire's feet trembles, and the air around her crackles with energy. She feels a surge of power flowing through her, connecting her to the forest in a way she has never experienced before. Claire's vision blurs, and she feels herself being pulled into another realm. The forest around her fades, replaced by a swirling vortex of light and shadow. She is now in the spirit realm, a place where the boundaries between the physical and the ethereal blur. In this realm, Claire can sense Tom's presence, faint but unmistakable. With the god of the woods guiding her, Claire begins her search for Tom in the spirit realm. The journey is fraught with challenges, as she navigates through the ever-shifting landscape, facing manifestations of fear and doubt. But with each step, she draws closer to Tom, her resolve strengthening with the knowledge that she is not alone. Finally, Claire reaches a place where the spirit realm's energy converges. There, she sees Tom, his form flickering between the physical and the ethereal. He is trapped, caught in the balance between life and the spirit of the forest. Claire reaches out to him, her voice cutting through the veil that separates them. Part 6, The Reckoning and Resolution. Claire's voice reverberates through the spirit realm, a desperate call that reaches Tom, who turns toward her, his eyes wide with a mixture of recognition and disbelief. He looks frail, as if the forest has drained him of his vitality, but seeing Claire seems to rekindle a spark within him. With all her strength, Claire steps closer, reaching out to touch Tom. As their hands connect, a surge of energy courses through both of them, intertwining their essences. The spirit realm reacts violently to their union, the ground shaking and the air crackling with power. The forest's balance is being tested, and the god of the woods appears once more, its presence filling the space with a commanding aura. The god of the woods speaks, its voice a mixture of reverence and warning. It acknowledges Claire's bravery and the strength of her bond with Tom, but reminds her that the balance of the forest must be preserved. To take Tom back, a price must be paid. Claire must offer a piece of herself to the forest, binding her spirit to its essence forever. The weight of the choice presses heavily on Claire, but she does not hesitate. She agrees, knowing that saving Tom is worth any sacrifice. The god of the woods gestures, and a glowing orb of light appears between them, representing the essence of Claire's spirit that will remain in the forest. As Claire offers herself to the forest, the spirit realm begins to dissolve, the swirling lights and shadows fading into the familiar surroundings of the woods. The energy stabilizes, and Claire and Tom find themselves back in the physical world, standing in the clearing where the ritual began. Tom collapses into Claire's arms, weak but alive. Tears stream down their faces as they embrace, overwhelmed by the ordeal they have endured and the relief of being reunited. The god of the woods watches silently, a faint smile of approval on its enigmatic face before it fades into the trees, its presence now a part of the forest once more. The journey back to the town is long and arduous, but Claire and Tom support each other, their bond stronger than ever. The town welcomes them back with open arms, the people amazed by their return and eager to hear the truth about the forest. Claire shares her story, dispelling the myths and fears that have gripped the town for generations. She speaks of the forest's true nature, its power, and the importance of respecting its balance. The townspeople listen, their fear giving way to a newfound understanding and reverence for the woods that have always been a part of their lives. As time passes, Claire becomes known as the one who bridged the gap between the human world and the spirit of the forest. Her tale becomes legend, a story of courage, sacrifice, and the enduring power of love. The god of the woods is no longer a figure of fear, but one of respect, a reminder of the delicate harmony between nature and humanity. Claire, now deeply connected to the forest, often visits the woods, feeling the presence of the god of the woods and the peace of her spirit that remains there. She knows that part of her will always belong to the forest, but she is content, knowing that her sacrifice saved her brother and brought peace to her town. And so, the story of Claire and the god of the woods becomes a cherished part of the town's history, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the mysterious, enduring power of the natural world.